Welcome to Cultic Cube, where we cube religiously. We make you better at cube and make your cube better. Today we leave aside jitta and swords of this and that in order to mine for equipment that may be overlooked. We will treat an assortment of cards suited to different cube power levels and goals, with special attention paid to those that provide archetypal support. Glenda Elendra asks, can you suggest fun equipment that helps different archetypes? I don't mean the ones everyone runs, like Batterskull. Thanks for the question. I am happy to oblige. Takeaways include that first, there is some neglected equipment that simply helps one's creatures attack, and that should be in the conversation, even at high power. Second, there is indeed fun equipment that I recommend considering as archetype role players. Third, a great deal of equipment may be super interesting, but it only shines in relatively slow environments with depowered removal. Before turning to the archetype enablers, let's take a moment to think about the equipment that bolsters strategies that want to attack. The very best equipment is useful in aggro, and mid-range is happy with a still broader swath of it. Such equipment typically does not do anything cute. It is simply a movable power and toughness buff that survives through board wipes. If you are not cubing Grafted War Gear, Bone Splitter, and Heirloom Blade, then you should be, unless they are too powerful for your environment. The last of these is particularly underrepresented. It has long been championed by Usman Jamil, both in articles and on his venerable Cube podcast, The Third Power. He mentions in episode 76 that Heirloom Blade is the fourth highest performing equipment in terms of inclusion in 3.0 decks when aggregating a year's worth of draft data. In my Legacy Cube, I am currently running Sword of Dungeons and Dragons and Blood-Forged Battleaxe, which are two more fine offerings from supplemental product that also have the advantage of fostering somewhat novel play patterns. But there is a long list of equipment that principally adds stats that is totally unembarrassing. Any number of these is appropriate to a power band that stretches from modern to a lower power legacy that avoids most cheaty effects, such as natural order. Aristocrats is a crowd-pleasing archetype that involves sacrificing one's own creatures for value. I run an Aristocrats package at modern power level, but though Wizards keeps gamely printing cards for the archetype, it is still not viable in my Legacy Cube. There are a number of equipment that are useful for Aristocrats. Some help by creating tokens, and others offer a sacrifice outlet. Mortarpod wants a low-power environment, and Demon Male Hauberk is probably digging pretty deep. The rest are not out of place in Legacy, and do not require self-sacrifice support. I am not a huge fan of promoting tribal synergies in most cubes, but given that WotC's default creature subtype is human, it is not difficult or unreasonable to support this group. Equipment such as Heirloom Blade and Silver Inlaid Dagger play nicely with the tribe, but each functions perfectly well on its own in the absence of humans at Legacy. One might go a bit deeper if one were so inclined at modern power level. Cranial Plating is an old standby of artifact aggro. Even if you do not support a particularly aggressive artifact archetype, it can still be fine, if less impressive. I've won many a game on the back of a suited-up Thopter in decks whose plan A is to tinker in a monster. Instant Speed Equip is cute, but the card does not require access to black mana. Rune Chanter's Pike is excellent in decks such as Izzet Spellslinger, Azorius Tempo, and Dimir Spell-Heavy Graveyard Matters. First Strike is a strong keyword addition. One's respect for open mana must necessarily increase when considering entering combat with a creature bearing a pike. Sunforger I have never played, but I understand that it is commonplace in casual EDH and sees some play in low-powered cubes. For Lands Matters archetypes, Sword of the Animist is a real card. It is a slow, repeatable rampant growth that also provides a minor buff to a creature. I do not think the card is amazing, but I also do not think that it is insane to run it, even in Legacy environments. Slabhammer, I am told, can do work in low-power cube settings, where it enables continuous landfall triggers. This card only makes sense to me in a deck that favors Step Links and Plated Geopede more than Rampaging Baloths and Avenger of Zendikar. I have a quiet crush on Helm of the Host. Don't at me. I ran the card in my modern cube for several months, and it was a crowd pleaser. People especially love it in the Blink archetype, where one's deck is littered with excellent ETB creatures. The fact that the card ignores legendary status may look like flavor text, but it feels great when that writer becomes relevant. I do not want to oversell the card, however. It can easily be a 9-mana do-nothing. but in slow and low-power environments, the card is fun. I conducted an informal survey on Twitter asking for people's favorite techie equipment, and these are some of the beloved cards that you all kindly offered. As I have no experience with these, I limit myself to the observation that these seem best suited to low-power environments. At the top left of the screen, you will find a link to my breakdown of vehicles in Cube, which you might find interesting if you have enjoyed this topic. Or come see what else the channel has to offer. Let's keep hanging out and chatting Cube.